What up, everybody? My name is kevspeakstruth. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to you guys for purchasing Truth Be Told. If you're seeing this, that means you purchased the album. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been an incredible process. I've really been trying to just elevate with everything that I do, and I felt like doing this would even allow me to be able to give you guys more in a way that I feel like is deserving, in a way that people who really can appreciate the nuances and the different parts of what I do, so those people could really get the recognition and the ability to enjoy my stuff. This is basically going to be a little video series where I'm going to be breaking down a couple of different things with each song, the story behind each song, some challenges that I face, maybe some fun facts in between, and third part of each song. So I hope you guys are ready, and let's get started. First off, we're going to be starting with the song Early Bird. Early Bird was actually one of the first songs that I recorded for the project, and so by no coincidence, I felt like it was a great opener for the album. I felt like it really sets the tone of the album. It has this kind of wake up, get up and grind, get up and hustle energy to it, and I just felt like it really painted the picture and opened the tone up for what Truth Be Told was going to be about. The song is essentially about getting up and hustling and really just welcoming the blessings and the preordained things that God has put in our path. The song itself was a result of a session with my friend Takeoff Burford and a local Naples guitarist by the name of Kevin Barroso. Kevin stopped by while we were making a beat, and he added a little guitar sound in the beginning, and from there the song essentially wrote itself. One of the major challenges with making this song was really with the vocal samples in the back. I wanted to make sure those vocal samples were present but weren't overpowering with the vocal, because I felt like it kind of was like this call and response thing going on that I really wanted to focus on. My favorite part of the song is the little digital keys sound that it had out there. I think it just gives it this classic hip-hop feel, and it just kind of adds more texture to the overall song. Customs with boy Paco. Customs was also made in the early creation process, I believe back in 2022. Paco and I, up until that point, hadn't done any official collabs. We'd done things with Roots and a couple other things, but nothing just him and I. So the song happened because of a rare late night session with Paco. Normally, the sessions I do with Paco are early in the morning, like 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. usually, and it's because he has a varying work schedule, and it just works out better for us to work in the mornings. But this was one of the only times that we've done a nighttime session, and as a result, I think it really created something unique. I had been sitting on this beat for a while, and I don't remember the context of the conversation, but we kind of just started talking about this idea or the dream of, like, you know, one day getting to travel with our friends and getting to do this on a real big level, more than just a local level, if that makes sense. From there, I came up with the hook, and Paco came with this incredibly explosive verse, and I just knew, okay, yeah, this is gonna be a banger right here. Ironically, Paco and I actually ended up going out to Denver together later on that year in September to see our friend Jason Channel open for Code of the Friend. So it felt kind of like it was a manifestation of this idea, but ultimately it was a really great experience, and it's definitely one of my favorites on the album. The only real challenge with this song was me finally recording my verse. It took me quite a while to get the verse recorded, and I think it was simply just because I knew I needed to be in the right energy space to do it, because I wanted to match Paco's energy. And then I believe I wrote the actual verse itself on the plane somewhere. I don't remember where I was going, ironically enough. And I just felt like it was a perfect verse. I sent him, I think, a voice recording of it. He was like, yo, let's do it. That sounds great. And then once I got back from that trip, I laid it down. And yeah, there we are. My favorite part of the song overall is probably gonna be Paco's verse. I just feel like he came with so much personality and so much just energy that it really pushed me as an artist to, like, really think about that when I came with my verse. Like, nah, bro, like, if I'm gonna do this, like, I gotta match his energy. And that is what I feel like I love so much about that song, is that it's a good blend of kind of the things that I do and also the things that Paco does. Next up is Price with Jay Daru. So Price was originally written for a different friend of mine, my friend Jareem. However, when I sent it to Jareem, I just don't think it resonated with him the same way that I thought it would, so it just never ended up becoming anything, and the song was kind of stuck in Arrested Development from there. Because of this, it's probably the oldest song on the album, if I'm being honest, but I just felt like the narrative and the messaging of the album was so timeless that I wanted to make sure I found a good MC to be a part of it. The song focuses on the cost of just ambition and dreaming. This idea that what are you willing to sacrifice, or what are you willing to lose in order to become the thing or the person that you want to be. This is a concept that I have touched on or talked about before on my project Club 27, but I felt like this song was like taking all the ideas from that album and putting it into one song, one really solid narrative that really, I think, just displayed the story correctly and made it more applicable to the everyday person that isn't necessarily an artist. Just this idea of what is the cost of your dream. Fast forward a few months later, I ended up sending it to Jay Daru to put his kind of sauce on it, and I already knew it was going to be great. So once he finally did get a chance to come out and lay the verse down, oh my God, my mind was blown. He gave it the perfect amount of realism and lyricism, and I really just feel like he elevated the track to the point that I was looking for. Overall, my favorite part of the song is probably the vocal stacks that are going on in the chorus. I just feel like their tone and the effects that I chose on it really just give it this like cinematic album feel. Something authentic, something timeless, something classic. You know what I mean? Next up is The Mic with Pa B. So The Mic was actually a song that I wrote for myself. I was kind of reflecting on the comparison game and imposter syndrome and just this idea of all the pain and trauma that I'd been through. Like if it had felt like almost like it was for nothing, like what was this leading to, and kind of feeling a little bit jaded with the journey of being a musician. Eventually, after listening to it a whole bunch of times over, I realized that it needed somebody who could really kind of bring that narrative nature to the song, and so I decided on my friend Pop B. Now, Pop is somebody I've known for, gotta be almost 10 years now, and I've been a fan ever since the day that I met him. And we had been trying to get stuff together, but it just never seemed to ever happen. I would send him a beat or an open, and something would happen where we wouldn't get it done. And it was kind of like that one person, you're like, man, if I could just lock in with them, I'm telling you, we'd make something classic. So when the time finally came to send this to him, and he was able to actually write something to it, I was extremely ecstatic. It actually took us almost a year to finally get the verse recorded, and once we did record it, we actually recorded it in his DJ's garage. Shout out to DJ Shorty Rock. And that was honestly one of the best parts of the experience, was that it was so hip-hop. Getting to record that in the garage, I think it just added a different texture to the song. We ended up actually shooting the live performance video in that garage as well, which I think is also just a cool touch to add to the whole story. My favorite part of the song might just be Pop's verse. I feel like he really encapsulated the story of what it is to be an MC, specifically also to be an MC from New York, the hip-hop mecca that it is. And the last line of his verse, "They told me my shit was fire, I'm careful with who I touch." Oh my God, bro. Just snapping. Really, really hit it out the park. Next up is going to be Kevin with Kaz. Kevin is probably the most straightforward song on the album, but I also feel like it's the most pivotal in the storylining and really just as almost like a milestone in my career as a musician. It's about my struggle as an artist and the traumas that I faced, and kind of learning how to transmute all that into really propulsion and energy to be able to be the best version of myself, to be able to be the artist and the man that I am today. I had reached out to Kaz because we had done a song before together called Need on his album Yours Truly, and I just felt like our sonics and our approach and just our energies really went well together. When Kaz finally came over for the session, I showed him an early version of the album, and I think I showed him some beats, and his response honestly was, yo, like, I really love this, but bro, I'm trying to rap. I'm trying to hear you rap. And to be honest, that kind of threw me for a loop, because most people who work with me respectfully don't ask me to rap because I don't think they want the smoke. You know what I'm saying? I really come with the bars, baby. It was just really awesome to be able to be challenged in that way, so I was really excited to get to really push my pen. The hardest part of this song honestly came down to the mix. When I was mixing the vocals, there is this open hi-hat that is on like in the beginning of every drum loop, and I just felt like it was really overpowering. So it took quite a few tweaks to kind of get that balance together, because I still wanted you to feel it, but it not overpower the vocal. My favorite part of this song is the last line that I say, "So when they think of GOAT, there just ain't no second guessing. It's Kevin." Now, the reason I love that line is, number one, I feel like it's like an affirmation to myself, but it's also a double entendre because Kaz and I both are named Kevin. So it just felt like, what a great way to end a verse. Next up is gonna be BFD, or Bitch Get the Fuck Off My D. This song was honestly born out of a really fun session with my man Boogie Down Banks. Banks and I have worked on a couple different things before, but nothing has really ever come into fruition, or if we have, it's been like, hey, he's on a verse and I might be on a chorus, but it's not our song together. When I initially invited him over for the session, I did kind of what I did with Kaz, where I showed him the album and what was kind of coming together with it, and he was like, you know, I like this, but I feel like we need to add something more. We ended up making two songs, one of which is called BFD, and the other is called Thank Me Now, which Thank Me Now, I don't think we ever finished, but who knows, maybe that'll come out later. One of the biggest obstacles with this song specifically was, number one, figuring out the timing and how long we wanted the song to be. When Banks and I initially recorded it, we made it a short song, and we planned to add more, but I just felt like the moment had been had in those minute and 30 seconds. I didn't want to overdo it. My favorite part of this song is honestly the song overall. That one, I love pretty much every part of it. I love Banks' verse, I love my verse, and I think I just love the cockiness and just the southern energy that comes with it. Speaking of southern energy, that brings us to the next song, My Thing, or Does It Look Like I Really Give a Fuck? My Thing is probably the most wild song on the album overall. My good friend Dim came down from Athens, Georgia to come see me in November of 2022, because he was going to be going to EDC Orlando with his girlfriend and her cousin, and I was also going to be going with my wife, so it was like a perfect opportunity for us to link up, hang out, make some tunes, and just catch up. November 10th, No Conflict Kev and my friend Azu ended up coming over to the studio while Tim was here, and we all were just kind of hanging out. We were showing them some songs that Dim and I had worked on previously up until that point. One of those songs had like a part 2 section, which was my thing. Once I showed it to the guys, they were like, nah, we gotta do something with this right now. As a result, we kind of all ended up working together and creating what I think is one of the most explosive and just high energy tracks on the album. There was just really this feeling in the room of like, man, me and my boys we really them niggas, bro, you know what I'm saying? We really didn't really argue, you know what I'm saying? Biggest challenge with this song really was mixing all the vocals, just having so many different tonalities, and then also making sure that all the ad-libs and post-production stuff was coming through effectively, and then also making sure that that 808 and that kick was really punching in the face of those people who are listening. My favorite part of the entire song is in Azu's verse, where he says, "You're delusional, making money off syllables." Something about making money off syllables, I love how that sounds, and just the idea of it is genius. And last but not least, 5 Minutes with Simon. So I actually made this beat back in December of 2021, so it might rival Price as far as oldest one on the album. It sat in my computer literally just collecting dust, and mainly because I knew whatever I did with that beat, it needed to be something really big energy, and I needed to have the right person on it. Fast forward to May of 2022, my man Simon hits me up and says he wants to slide through for a session. I have been wanting to link up with Simon for a while, as I've been a fan since I moved to Naples, and he actually was one of the few performers I had in my first show out here for Andrew. So I just kind of knew like it was time for us to get together, but it was just a matter of actually making the time to link up. This song is really just about bigging up yourself and the braggadocio that comes with being an MC or a rapper. Once Simon got here, I showed him a few beats I was working on or that I had been sitting on, and TikTok, or what would become this song, was one of those beats. Once Simon heard it, he instantly was like, yeah, this is the one. Overall, I think it took us about an hour to an hour and a half to write and record the entire song. When it came time to mix, I really wanted the song to feel very big and just in your face, almost like a very big finish. One of the biggest challenges actually ended up being one of my favorite parts of the song, which is during the bridge after my verse, you can hear me going, "Dust," in like this screaming kind of vocal tone, and I wanted to make sure it was heard but not felt, if that makes sense. Very waily. I also wanted it to move, so it was a lot of just tweaking to make sure it wasn't causing any phase issues, but also was just really kind of like tucked in the back in a way that you have to really be listening to hear it, but also just added texture to the overall bridge and into that chorus. So a fun fact about this song, I actually misheard Simon when he rapped it the first time. First time he rapped the verse, I thought he said, "Going Encino, man, I've been waiting from the jump." But what he actually said was, "Going center, man, I've been waiting from the jump." Because I heard Encino, man, I thought he was making a reference to like 90s films, so I ended up writing all my punchlines based off of 90s films. I actually didn't end up realizing that I was mishearing him until many, many months later after I already mixed and mastered the song, and I thought it was just kind of funny. So for fun, if you want to take a hit for every 90s reference that I make, go for it. Maybe you'll get really stupid stoned, or if you just want to guess and let me know what the names are, you get bonus points. And that's a little background behind all the different songs on this album. I want to thank you guys so much again for your support and your love with this album. I really cannot express my gratitude enough. This was something that I put a lot of love, time, and energy into. I really wanted it to feel cohesive and intentional, and I really wanted to give you guys something that just truly elevated the overall album experience. So thank you guys for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed the album, and I can't wait to be able to share it with you live. My name is Kevspeakstruth, and as always, grateful to be here.